All right, let's get some more analysis. Let's bring in Hashim Wahdatyar, who is also in Washington, D.C. He is the program director at the Institute of Current World Affairs. Hashim, it's a pleasure having you on. I want to talk to you about what certain organizations' roles are going to be. You are the program officer for the United Nations in Afghanistan, so I want to concentrate on that. How does the UN play this?
Well, look, I do not think that the United Nations would have a lot of say on foreign policy of a country or another country. The United Nations is an organization, whoever pays them a lot, and they will have like more uphand in the decision of the United Nations one. The other thing is it's not only about the United Nations, but it's also about the United Nations Security Council. That the members of the United Nations Council members have the rights of veto. So in that sense, I think that the United States does not have a lot to do in Afghanistan now, because after 9/11, when it intervened, the United Nations Security Council all stand with the United Nations, and also the regional countries who are in foes and having adversary with the United States, like Iran and Russia. They all had adversaries with the United States, but they all stood with them and they intervened in Afghanistan. But now the region is not, and there is no like biggest cause for the United States to return to Afghanistan. What we need to think and argue here is that now that the Taliban has taken over and the United States withdrew, the expectation is that gradually and at a slow pace, the Taliban would change and become moderate. But it would take years. The Taliban would realize that without genuinely working with a multi-ethnic country in a complicated region, lasting governance is arduous without working with international organizations and the world. The second point that I want to highlight is that should the Taliban continue to continue the fastidious form of the governments, this time it will be the region, including Pakistan and Iran, who would ask the West and plead to intervene against the Taliban. Now it is the fact, and the Taliban has taken over, and they will do what the Taliban wants because now they are in power. The military intervention failed. The rest of Afghans and the world need to engage with the Taliban using soft powers internally and externally to get what we have lost.
Okay, just when you said it comes out of the Security Council, last night 13 countries in the Security Council voted to ask or put pressure on the Taliban to allow safe passage. The two countries that actually abstained were Russia and China, so they didn't object, so they abstained. I think it's an important point to make. All right, the United Nations says there is a far greater crisis, a humanitarian crisis, and it's just beginning. Those words were spoken by Filippo Grandi. Do you think that the Taliban is going to be able to handle this?
No, not at all. Look at 350,000 Afghan security forces who are paid by the United States, like $450 billion every year. That is no longer available for the Afghan. There's no security forces, and the Afghan security forces are sitting at home. And there are over 400 civil servants who are being paid by the Afghan previous government and the international community, and there's no money to pay them. And they are also sitting at home, and everybody having like 5 to 10 family members in Afghanistan. And the Taliban do not have money to pay their own fighters. Their own fighters have been saying that they are not paid. Even the Taliban are asking the civilians to go and join the government and to operational the government, but the former civil servants say that who will pay them? So the Taliban has no way, have the means and the budgets and money to pay, and it's absolutely obvious that Afghanistan will face with the dramatic disasters.
Hashim, since you're talking about money, talking about dollars and cents, let me bring that up. The United Nations and its partners have come up with a plan. They say that $1.3 billion is needed for an urgent response plan. But as far as I know, it's only about 40% funded, and we need, or they need, $800 million more. With the Taliban in power, with the Western countries' approach saying that, you know, we're going to judge them by what they do, not by what they say. It looks like, from what you're saying, it's not going to be an easy task to raise all of this remaining money.
Exactly. Yes, they have asked for this money, but who will pay them? Obviously, like even if an organization or a country pay them, that has to go through the Ministry of Finance and to the government or to administration that managed, lead by the Taliban. Nobody will pay money to the Taliban to administer the humanitarian aid to the Afghan people and to the nations. And the Taliban will have its intervention and control on that, so nobody will pay that amount, unfortunately.
All right, Hashim Wahdatyar, thank you very much for joining us here on TRT World. I do appreciate your analysis.